Okay, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us this morning. So I'm Helen, and I'm from the college's admissions team, and this is the second WQE live virtual session that we're running. So we ran this session last week at the same time, and it was incredibly popular. It was full to capacity, and we had literally hundreds of great questions. So we thought it was really important to try and give another opportunity, particularly because, as I'm sure you're all aware, the deadline for applications is this Friday. So I'm joined once again by my colleagues Megan, Rakesh and David, and also by Zeno, who's one of our student ambassadors. They'll introduce themselves in a minute, but firstly I'm just going to explain a little bit how the session will work. So it's really an opportunity for you to ask us any questions you've got about the college, about your application, or about what it's like to be a student here. We'll try and to answer as many of those as we can within the next hour. So if you want to ask us a question, you will see at the bottom of your screen there is a Q&A button. If you click on that, you'll get a little pop-up screen, and then you will be able to type in your question and we will answer them live. If there are any questions that we can't answer today, it may be that we need to refer to another colleague in the college, for example, then we will get back to you on an individual basis by email. And likewise, if we run out of time, we will get back to you. Any questions we've not been able to answer today, we'll get back to you. Just to say, though, that probably won't be immediate. Over the next couple of weeks, our priority is really going to be processing the last applications that are coming through before the deadline, and obviously trying to sort those out for interview. So we will get back to you, but it is likely to be sort of early March when that happens. In the meantime, though, you can have a look at the website. There's a lot of information on there. We have got an admissions FAQ section, which is under the Apply Now heading on the website, so you could have a look at that information as well. And we will be recording the session today, and that will be made available on our YouTube channel as well. So if you want to watch it back, or if have you got friends, maybe your family, that would like to have a look at it, then they could watch the session back. Okay, so we'll do some introductions then. So as I said, I'm Helen. I'm from the college's admissions team, and my role this morning will be to answer any admissions related questions you have. Okay, Meg.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Meg. I'm also part of the admissions team, and today I'll just be managing the questions that you send in. So, Rakesh?
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to WQE on this lovely, bright but cold morning. I'm one of the heads of studies, so there's myself and David, who's going to be introducing himself in a second. My role is to head up one of the pastoral teams in the college. So our job is to make sure that you settle well into the college, that you enjoy your college studies. We're here to help and support you in your academic progress, but also help you with any challenges that you might have, and generally making sure that you're safe whilst you're studying at WQE. So that's me in a nutshell.
Okay. Yeah, my name's David Morgan. I'm the other head of studies, and obviously I have the same role as Rakesh, as he's just identified. So yes, welcome to WQE.
Hi, I'm Zeno. I'm a second year level 3 student, and I'll be helping answering any questions you have. I study psychology, economics and applied science.
That's great. Thank you, everybody. Okay, so we can see obviously lots of questions have been coming in as we've been talking, and I know that a few came in advance as well. So I'm going to hand over to Meg, and she will tell us what you've been asking.
Okay, so we've got a few questions that came in advance, so I'll just start with those. Excuse me. So the first one being, how long is each lesson? Probably one for heads of studies.
Yeah, so at the moment we've got obviously during lockdown, most of our lessons are 3 hours. We've got a 3 hour chunk, and then some smaller 1.5 hour sessions. But during a normal sort of timetable without COVID, each lesson would be about 1 hour and 10 minutes or thereabouts.
Okay, great. When we finish our lessons, can we go home? Probably another one for heads of studies, really.
David, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll take this one. Yes, you can. that's very much the nature of being in a sixth form college like this. That we're trusting you to use your time effectively. So so yes, you have your timetable, and you come into college for your timetable. So if your lesson finishes, let's say mid-afternoon, you can leave after that. If your first lesson, for example, doesn't start until let's say 10:30, you don't have to be in, let's say, at 9 o'clock. So there is, you have that as a student, you have that flexibility.
Can I just add, it's quite important that whilst the flexibility is there for you to go home, the reality is that most students tend to stay on the campus and will either enjoy the sporting facilities that we've got, obviously not in COVID times, but also the study support facilities that we've got. So whether it's accessing one-to-one support or accessing IT support. So the reality is that most students tend to stay because they actually want that college experience, because that college experience is so different to school. But absolutely, you can go home, but most choose to stay in the college.
Okay, great. Does WQE provide bus passes? Helen, would you be able to answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. So bus passes aren't provided generally to all students, but there is something called the 16 to 19 bursary fund, which students are able to apply to. So that is really dependent on your household income. Currently, if the household income is £31,000 or less, then you are able to apply for bursary support, and within that would include an element of support to your transport. There is information on the website about that. If you have a look under support and financial support, there will be information as to what we are currently providing for students to have a look at.
Okay, great. Would we do work experience at WQE? Probably heads of studies again.
Yes, that's one of the things that we're strongly recommending. At the moment, most of our students on a vocational course, for example, would undertake some kind of work experience, and in most of those cases, that work experience is now mandatory. So if you don't complete that work experience, you're not likely to successfully complete. What we need to do as a college is introduce more and more work experience to more academic courses, and that's something that we're very seriously thinking, and quite a lot of work is underway on that. Even during COVID times, what we have managed to do is establish some work experience online for lots of our students, particularly the health and social care students who are actually doing that right now. So the short answer to your question is yes, we strongly advocate work experience because it's a very important part of the learning process. But fundamentally, if you're on vocational courses, it's mandatory.
Okay, perfect. Am I allowed to apply for a laptop from WQE? Helen, I don't know if you'd be able to help with that one.
Yes, I mean, certainly at the moment, in COVID times, the college has just recently been given some funding from the government to purchase additional laptops. So whilst we have an element of online learning, then that is absolutely something that a student would be able to do. The person that you would talk to that in the first instance would be your PPM, so your personal progress mentor, and then they will be able to log a little bit about your circumstances. For example, if you're a student in receipt of bursary support or what the reasons are you need a laptop. But yeah, absolutely, that provision is available for our students.
Just probably worth mentioning as well that if you've got an EHCP plan, there's a very good chance that we would provide you with a laptop for the duration of your course anyway. But there are very specific set of conditions for that.
Okay. When will we know if we've been accepted or not? Helen?
Okay, so for the students that have applied by the end of this week, we will be considering applications during March, and those students will find out, and it will be mid-April. For anybody who applies after this Friday, although that is the sort of the first deadline, that's not to say your application won't be considered. We will still look at applications after Friday. However, the process for that will take a little bit longer, and we will keep you informed. But it will be as soon as we're able to look at those. But for the initial group that we consider in March, it will be mid-April.
Okay. Can you change your courses during the interview stage, Helen?
Yes, absolutely. So obviously you'll have put down on your application form a set of courses that you might have been considering. but since you did that, we know some students applied as far back as November. You may have done some research and want to change your mind. And absolutely, that's fine. That's part of what the interview process is about. So it's really an opportunity to talk through your application with a member of our team, and look at what you want to move on to next. So if you've had a rethink, then yes, absolutely, you can change your course interview. I suppose the thing to say about that is just you don't need to let us know before your interview. So please don't feel that you've got to withdraw your PS16 application and resubmit it. We will resolve any things like that at your interview.
Okay. Can I know more about the sports side? I've applied for BTEC Level 3 sports. Is there a football team? Is that heads of studies?
I'm assuming that we've got lots of teams, including the football team as well. I mean, obviously during COVID, that's been certainly more challenging. But yeah, we've got comprehensive sporting facilities, including a number of enrichments that you can take part in that include significant number of sporting activities, including college teams.
Yeah, I think also to say as well in the normal world that those teams do compete in local and national competitions. So the sports team are very active, and for football, for example, there will be several teams, and you can choose to play in a team or you can choose to do sport just recreationally as well. There's very different options.
Okay, perfect. Is there halal food in the canteen? I don't really know who'd be best to answer that one, but can anyone answer that one?
I don't know whether that's a admissions thing or.
Yes, honestly, I'm not sure on the answer to that question.
Yeah, we can come back to you on that one. Yeah.
Okay. Can you do BTEC Law in year 12, Helen?
Yes, we do offer a vocational course in law. So yeah, for law, there's two options. There is an A-level or there is a BTEC certificate, which would be the equivalent of one A-level, and you would do it over the full 2 years of your course.
Okay. Is it possible to do one A-level and 2 vocational course each equivalent to one A-level as well? Helen?
Yes, absolutely, and that's one of the really strong points about our curriculum is that you can mix and match. So students will do generally the equivalent of 3 level 3 subjects, and it could be an extended diploma, which is equivalent to 3 A-levels, or you could do a diploma plus 1 A-level or a diploma plus 1 certificate. It can be tailored to absolutely what you want to do, but yes, it's absolutely possible to mix A-levels and the vocational courses at level 3.
Okay. How long are students normally at WQE? Is it 2 years or 3 years? Helen?
For most students, it would be 2 years. For the vast majority of our students will enrol onto a level 3 program, which they would study for 2 years. That said, we offer courses at all levels, from entry level up to level 3. So some students may start at entry level and progress on to level 1, level 2, level 3, and could end up spending 5 years here potentially. So it'd be really unique to that individual and what their level is at the point that they join us. So for most students 2 years, but on individual circumstances, it could easily be longer.
Okay. What does a typical week's timetable look like if I'm doing 3 A-levels? Heads of studies?
Okay. A typical week would be if they're doing a student's doing 3 A-levels. The way it's organised is that currently, in COVID times, each subject has a 3-hour session plus a 1.5 hour session, and they're spread across the week, probably across 3 to 4 days, depending on the individual. In non-COVID times, it's certainly the timetable we were using before. It was 4 1 hour 10-minute lessons, and again that was spread really across. If you're doing 3 A-levels, chances are you were going to be in for 5 days. It's a full-time program, and the way the timetable works is it's on a blocking system. So again, some lessons might start at 9, some, but not necessarily every day. So that's how it will look, as you would expect a timetable to look like. And within that, there would be study sessions as well, along with a PPM session. So that's a personal progress mentor session, and an enrichment slot for most students, particularly those who are level 3.
Okay. What are the facilities of the library and other things like? So I don't know if Zeno might be able to answer that one.
So the library is quite advanced with like the amount of books we have. It's like there's everything there for each subject and different topics that you can cover. You can rent your books out. You can ask to get them for a certain specific time, especially if you're doing exams and you need that kind of extra help with revision, etc. They're very useful. There is also the study centre, which you can use like to do extra revision, and there's computer facilities there, so you can print work for coursework, etc. if needed. But the library and the silent study are quite useful when it comes to revision, etc.
Okay, perfect. On what basis do you send offers? Is it on our predicted grades? Helen?
It will be a combination of your predicted grades and also your reference as well. So we'll look at your predicted grades, and that will kind of determine which level that you would be offered a place for. But equally important is your reference from your current school. So we'll want to be seeing things like good attendance, good punctuality, good attitude to learning. And if there are any concerns in those areas, then that would potentially impact an offer being made regardless of predicted grades. So it's a combination of those two factors.
Okay. Are we going to be interviewed over Zoom, Helen?
It will be virtual for sure. It's likely to be via telephone or via Microsoft Teams. And the further information will be sent out to students in March. The intention is that you will be able to book an appointment at a convenient time for yourself. There's 2 days, so we've assigned for interviews the afternoon of Tuesday the 16th of March and all day on Wednesday the 17th. And you'll get a booking link and you'll be able to make an appointment, and there'll be an option to do it either by phone or by Teams.
Okay. Is there a uniform? Heads of studies, probably best to answer this one.
No, there isn't a uniform. A big part of the transition between school and college is that you have the liberty to wear, what you desire. Of course, if there's anything that's vaguely offensive that is on your clothing, or anything that's at odds with the college's values, then that might be an issue. But apart from that, we're pretty flexible really in terms of what we can wear. So yeah, no problems at all. No uniform.
Okay. Helen, probably one for you. After this live event, are we going to have a live event for each of our courses?
There won't be one prior to interview. That will be something we are very likely to do later on as part of more like a sort of taster pre-enrollment session. That said, if you want to have a look at the presentations from Open Day, they are all on the website. So if anyone wasn't able to attend the open event, or maybe wasn't aware about it, if you go onto our homepage of the website, you'll see a link at the top for open events, and there's level 3, and there's also some level 2 webinars as well. So they won't be live events, but you'll be able to watch what was presented on those days, and that included a Q&A section at the end of it as well. So if there were common questions, then other people may ask the things that you were thinking of as well. But we will do something after we've made offers and students have accepted. At some point in June or early July, there will be further opportunities to get course advice for sure.
Okay. Rakesh, one for you. Can you say a bit more about the fast track process?
Yep, we've had quite a lot of information on fast track, and I think the best way for us to answer that question really is by asking you to go onto our website, which outlines what the fast track process is, how it works, and whether it applies to you. So rather than answer that specifically for each individual, it might be better for you to have a look at the information that is on our website.
Okay. Do you think grades are more important or extracurriculars? Helen, don't know if you'll be able to answer that.
In terms of entry criteria, I suppose the thing that from an entry criteria point of view, then we will look at grades, because each course, each level and each course does have its own set entry criteria, and that they are determined from years of experience of what our staff know you need to achieve success on the course, and that is incredibly important, of course. That said, extracurricular activities are incredibly important, and they'll be something that your interviewer will talk to you about. And life isn't just all about exams, is it? We encourage students when they're here to get involved in extracurricular. We've mentioned enrichment, and that's something we would want students to get involved in. So we want students to have a balance of working hard, achieving well, but also, you want to have a good time at college, don't you? So I think both are important, but ultimately what will determine whether you get a place on the course you're looking at will be your existing qualifications.
Okay, great. When will we carry out our enrichment classes? How many times a week and at what time? Heads of studies?
I think the answer to the question is that enrichment will be part of your overall timetable, and you will know once your timetable has been finalised and agreed in terms of your course, how that might work. We're requiring each student to have one enrichment slot, and no more per week. Depending on the enrichment, it'd be very difficult for us to comment on exactly where it might be on your particular timetable. But yes, there will be one slot, 1 hour slot, 1 hour 10-minute slot on your timetable from September onwards.
Okay. Are lessons timetable between 9 and 5, or might it be later? Probably heads of studies again.
The timetable between essentially 9 and in normal times, 9 and just after 4. So they tend, and Rakesh, they tend not to be later, do they?
No.
That.
No. But they're likely to be slightly earlier than 9 o'clock, though.
And then currently, yes, it's the morning sessions have been running 9 till 12:15, and then afternoon sessions again on a Wednesday using the whole afternoon, 1 until 4, and then the 1.5 hour sessions have tended to be in the afternoon and probably about mid-afternoon. So it just depends on whether we're in COVID times or not.
And that's the discussions that we're having at management level in the college at the moment in terms of what that final timetable might look like. So we're in that period of consultation with staff at the moment, making sure that we've got the right timetable for you. So we will know a bit more about that a bit later on in the term.
Okay. This is a bit specific, but does economics A level have a lot of maths in?
Yes, I'll take that one. So yes, A level economics is it is a maths-based subject. So there's a lot of statistics, a lot of use of sort of formulas and equations. So maths is an essential part, an integral part of studying economics at A level and beyond.
Oh, I froze then. Is that been answered? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Sorry, I froze. Right. Okay. I unintentionally withdrew my application I sent to WQE, and I'm not able to send in another. What do I do with the deadline coming up? Helen?
Okay, I would suggest that you contact the admissions team to talk that through. So we should still be able to see it, and it's potential that we could change it from withdrawn back to acknowledged again. So if you contact the admissions team, you can either email admissions@wqe.ac.uk, or you can give us a call on our free phone number, which Meg will be able to provide you with, hopefully.
Yeah, it is 0800 061 4443. That's the free phone number.
Thanks.
Okay. How are lessons being taught during COVID right now? I don't know if Zeno might be able to help with that one, being as she's experiencing it.
Yeah, lessons are taught online through Microsoft Teams, and they use all of the stuff on Microsoft Teams, like class notebooks, assignments. You generally are told to use your microphone when answering questions, but if there are technical issues, then there's the chat available. One thing I'd say is that it is difficult learning online because generally the screens are just people's initials. You don't get to see anybody's face really, unless your teacher encourages cameras, but it is difficult. So the best thing I would say is engage in your lesson and pay attention to what you're being taught, because you will miss out on things that are quite important if you're not, especially online, because if you're not paying attention, they will go by really quickly. They are recorded, so that if you need to go back later on and just go over what you've been taught, then you can do that. But Microsoft Teams is what is being used currently, and if you need to submit any work, then that's generally done through Turnitin on QE or on QE Online, or just assignments. So that is basically how you get taught, using your microphones, cameras, and Microsoft Teams, really.
Okay, thanks, Zeno. Will all applications be given an answer at the same time? I'm just wondering why my application's only acknowledged at the minute. Helen, would you be able to?
Okay, so at the moment, everyone's application would be acknowledged. So the process on PS16 is that it comes through to us, we download it, and at the point of doing that, we will change it to acknowledged, and it will stay as acknowledged on PS16 until you are made an offer. So that's that. I mean, that's just the PS16 code. If it's changed to acknowledged, you can be assured that we've got your application and that we are considering it. And nobody else will have heard either. So that's the stage it'll be at the moment.
Okay. Does WQE have a football pitch? Don't really know who's best to answer that one.
I'd say yes.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
Yeah, we have two, I believe.
Yep.
It's only University Road. Yes, there's two.
Yep. Okay. Even if we have not chosen a sports-related subject for A level, will we still have the opportunity to partake in sporting activities and use the facilities? Probably heads of studies.
Absolutely. I mean, that's something that we very much recommend and advocate. So as we said before, there's you're likely to have some free time in between your lessons where we actively ask you to use that time productively, whether that's using the gym facilities or using the football facilities or any other facilities that we've got. So absolutely, we would recommend that you do that, and you can use those facilities outside of class time.
I just add something, if that's okay. Last year, I did badminton as an enrichment, and I don't do sports A levels or vocational studies. So if you are interested, I think it is a good idea to do a sports enrichment, because it's different to what you're normally studying, and it adds something to your university applications and just to your personality as a whole. You can also make friends a lot easier through enrichments. So sports enrichment would be fun, and you get to know lots of people too.
Okay, perfect. Is it easy to get apprenticeships? Probably heads of studies.
Go on.
Sorry, Rakesh?
No, go on, David.
Yeah. So in terms of getting apprenticeships, I mean, we have a lot of careers help from the time you start arriving, and we are because most students are with us for that 2-year period. We start quite early in terms of supporting students to consider what their futures will be, and that progression. So obviously we have the focus on university through UCAS, but also looking at apprenticeships and supporting our students with finding apprenticeships and applying for those normally in their second year. So is it easy to get apprenticeships? I think, was that the question, Meg? It is in the sense that our careers team will do all they can to support students who are looking at that looking in that direction to apply for those apprenticeships. So yes.
Okay. How many students are normally in a class?
So yeah, within a class, it would be a maximum of 24 in any particular class. For some, it will be less, depending on the subject and the level.
Okay. Do you have any courses or workshops helping students with getting into the pharmacy industry?
I don't think we have anything specific about the pharmacy industry, and that's probably a question that perhaps the science department could respond at a later date. One of the things that I spoke about a few minutes ago was the idea of academic departments generating and forging links with industry. And as a college, we've started to do that really, really well, and we've got some fantastic links with industry. And I can't imagine that the science department haven't got some link with the pharmaceutical industry, but I can't be more specific than that at this stage. And that's something that perhaps the head of science could come back to you and answer that specifically.
I think also the careers team would have some involvement there as well, because they arrange for careers fairs and things like that, and they'll arrange for representatives from different industries to come in and talk to students and run workshops. So careers could probably provide some advice also.
Okay. And it's quite a specific one again, but what's the difference between applied science and taking a science course, for example, biology? Don't know if anyone could help.
Yeah. Do you want to do that one, David?
I can do, yeah. So with the A levels, so A level biology, chemistry, they are very specific, and there's a very sort of academic focus there. With the applied science, still academic, by the way, but it is more general, and applied science will cover all three sciences, but it is more, the nature of the course is it's applied. It's looking at how science is applied, in a sense, in the real world, and that's the vocational element. So that's the kind of core difference, and as a result, the nature of assessment is going to be different. With biology, let's say, it is more exam based. Whereas with the applied science, again, there are some external examinations, but there is a more sort of, let's say, coursework portfolio aspect to it.
It's a really good question, and I'm hoping that lots of you have already had conversations with your respective careers advisors in your schools and spoke to friends and family, and it's a really important one, because it all depends on what you want to do in your future career. So, for example, if you wanted to go into, let's say, medicine or dentistry, then we're really not looking at applied science courses. We're looking at the traditional A-level biology, chemistry courses. Whereas if you're looking at pharmaceutical science, then an applied science might be a better vehicle. So it all depends on your future career choice, and that's something that you need to research now. Talk to teachers, talk to your careers advisor at school now, but also speak to us when you have your interview, and we'll be able to better guide you then.
If I can just add to that as well, that if you're trying to find any information about courses, if you go onto our website, there are course information sheets there for every course that we offer, and they will tell you the entry requirements, what the course covers, how it's assessed, and also where it can lead to as well. So if you want to do some research into that sort of thing, you can do that on our website also.
Okay, perfect. Helen, what type of courses do you do? Quite a general one, but
yes, that's very general. So I think, as I said earlier, we do anything from entry level right through to level 3. So for entry level, commonly students doing those courses are people that perhaps haven't been in the country very long and they need some support with English. So they'll do a combination of English, maths, and an ICT. Then we'd move up to level 1, where there's a variety of employability options alongside still doing a maths and English course. Then level 2, we would do, level 2 is the level that most of you are probably working at the moment. So it's GCSE level or vocational equivalents to that. And then with a view to moving on to level 3, where we would offer a range of A levels or level 3 vocational courses. So a huge range. The best thing for you to do to research what we offer, again, is to look at our website. So the course sheets are on there. There's also a kind of a summary document that's called Choose the Right Pathway. And if you have a look at that, it will summarise all the courses we offer with their entry criteria and the criteria that you need for each level as well. So that's quite a useful starting point.
Another quite specific one, but for photography and ADT subjects, will we need to buy equipment such as cameras and lenses, or will it be provided?
The departments do have equipment that you can loan, so I'm sure it's certainly possible to borrow things. But for most students doing those courses, they would purchase their own. Most students that would do A-level photography, for example, have a passion for photography and have already, got a portfolio of work, and they probably have equipment already. So most students will have their own. If you are a student in receipt of the bursary supports, then that is something that the bursary would be able to help you with as well, is to contribute towards such equipment.
Okay. Would you recommend a PC laptop, or will I be okay on a Mac? Do you use OneDrive or other shared drives that would be difficult on a Mac?
It depends whether you're an Apple fan person. Friends of mine who use Apple swear by Apple and wouldn't have anything else. Most of the equipment in the college is probably not Apple, and therefore it'll be difficult to comment. But from my experience, Apple Mac's perfectly compatible with the software that you use, so I don't envisage that being a problem at all. And yes, you would have access to OneDrive, yes, because we've got part of the 365 package that most schools have got. So the packages that you are using at the moment are the same packages that we'll be using.
Okay. Would you accept second choice applications, Helen?
Yes, absolutely. We recognise that some providers sort of specify that you need to perhaps put them as first choice. So we wouldn't want to put a student in that position where they're having to kind of prioritise at this early stage. We really want students to get as much information as they can from as many providers as they're interested in applying to, and then you can make an informed decision. So no, absolutely, we wouldn't look at the sort of the preference order at this stage.
Okay. Is it one interview per subject for A-levels, or is it just one interview overall? Probably Helen again.
Yeah, it would be a general overall interview. So at this stage, it's an interview looking at your application generally and your courses generally of what you're applying to, and the staff that do that are all fully trained and are fully able to look at your application generally. When it comes to enrolment, then you would, before you actually enroll on courses, if at that stage you feel you need specific advice from course leaders and teachers, then that information is available then. But at the moment, it would be one interview for for all of your subjects.
Okay. What do you do for apprenticeships? I don't know if heads of studies might be able to answer that.
In terms of apprenticeships, then, I mean, again, we sort of touched on this a little bit earlier, that that's something that the careers team will support our students with, in terms of looking at, again, many of our students are here, or most of our students are here for 2 years. We do a lot of work on next steps, so progression to university and employment/apprenticeships. So we do a lot of work around supporting students to look at apprenticeships, particularly obviously if they don't want to then apply to university. And that work starts in the first year. So probably at around March going into April time. So yes, there's a lot of work that we do to support students to look at apprenticeships.
Okay. What does it mean when your school send your application back to you, Helen?
Your school, I would imagine, would need to answer that question for you. I mean, we would send applications back in very rare circumstances, when significant information was missing that meant we couldn't process it. If your school have sent it back, I think that's something you would probably need to address with them, and it's likely that there is something that you've not quite completed properly. So I would suggest you speak to your careers advisor at school.
Okay. Can you get scribers and readers for exams, Heads of
Yes, I
studies?
think the answer is yes, you can. And that support would be available through our dedicated welfare and skills team. So depending on your specific need, we would then be able to mobilize that support for you, and you can discuss your specific requirements and needs when you have your interview. So so we know that you're coming, and we know that we can prepare for that when you arrive in September.
Okay. What would happen if I didn't achieve the required grades for the chosen subject, and how would having an EHCP plan affect this? Helen?
Okay, so I'll answer the question in two parts. So generally, for students, if they don't meet the entry criteria for the course they've been offered, your enrolment advisor would look at what the options might be. So it may be that if it was level 3, for example, it may be that you still meet the criteria for A levels, but just not for the specific subjects that you were thinking of. So it would then be a case of looking at what other A-level options might you consider. Would you look at a vocational level 3 route? If you didn't meet the entry criteria for level 3 generally, then it would then be a matter of potentially exploring level 2, and if we've got any places available on a level 2 course at that stage, is that something we could offer? So that's the more general answer that would apply to everybody. Students with EHCPs, you will have a lot of support from welfare and skills to support your transition to the college. So they would work with you to look at how far away you were from the entry criteria, and actually what is the most appropriate program for you. So that's quite a difficult one to answer generally, because it would be very much dependent on individual circumstances, I think. But it's a conversation that they would have with you. Ultimately, we want to enroll students onto courses that we know they're going to be successful in. So that would be the sort of bottom line of people's thinking when they were looking at it.
Okay. What happens if we don't get accepted at the interview, Helen?
Okay, well, I suppose the first thing is to say is that at your interview you'll not be accepted or not. The interview isn't about selection. So the interview, we've sort of mentioned before, is it's an opportunity to talk through your application. So you're not going to walk away from your interview with your interviewer having said yes or no to whether you've got a place at the college. Most students will get an offer of a place. If you meet the entry criteria and you've got a good reference, it's very highly likely that you will be offered a place at WQE. For students that don't get an offer of a place, it would the reasons for that would be that we haven't got a program to offer you, and that is very, very rare that happens, or that there are significant concerns about your reference. And if we didn't offer a place for any of those reasons, there is a right to appeal, and that would be the route that you would go through. But the vast majority of students, I would say, would be offered a place.
Okay. Are the courses mainly coursework or exam based, heads of studies?
That's
Okay.
go on, David.
Yeah, it depends on the courses you're choosing. So with A levels are predominantly exam based. So just to give a bit of context, not so long ago the government changed the approach here. The A levels have always been largely exam based anyway, but they reduced the amount of coursework involved in A levels. There are still some A levels with a small, but it is a very small component that is coursework based. So for example, English language, English literature have a small coursework element to it. So they are predominantly exam based. But the very nature of the vocational courses, the level 3 vocational courses, for example, most of them these days, they do have an external sort of examined element to it, but there's also, they're predominantly coursework based. So it does depend on the set of courses you're applying for.
Okay. If you have withdrawn your application but have not been able to change it yet, what should you do, Helen?
Okay, so I would change it as soon as you can and ensure that you sent it back to us before the deadline of Friday. If you do have any issues with that, then I would suggest just sending an email to admissions. So it was just the email address again was admissions@wqe.ac.uk. If you drop us an email and just explain what the issue is, then obviously we'll take that into account. But really just do what you need to and get it resubmitted as soon as you possibly can.
What GCSE grades do I need to get in, Helen?
Okay, so that will depend on the level that you are looking at. So the best piece of information would be there to have a look at, choose the right pathway, and there's a table there that will show, dependent on what your GCSE outcome is likely to be, what level of course you would qualify for.
Okay. Are there any live theatre performances in the drama and theatre course? I don't know if Heads and Studies will be able to answer, or Helen?
Yeah, I mean, in the normal world, absolutely, they would spend a lot of time going out to theatre performances locally, and you know they go to London as well most years. It's just at the moment, clearly that's not something that can happen, and I believe that they would be watching virtual performances instead. But I forget the number, but there's a certain amount of performances that it's essential that you see as part of that course. Best advice for that would be to have a look at the course information sheet on the website, and that will explain it in more detail.
Okay. Can lessons overlap? What would happen then? Heads of Studies?
It's very unlikely that lessons would overlap. We would configure the timetable in such a way where that would not happen. We wouldn't want your learning to be disturbed by one lesson or another. So that is not likely to happen.
Okay. If we are accepted, does this mean that we have to accept that college, or can we still accept other places? Helen?
Yeah, no, you can accept more than one. So yeah, and again, as I said before, you know, we want you to really make an informed decision. So you'll have applied for more than one, I'm sure. So you know, attend your interviews, go through that process, and then if you want to accept one college and one as a backup, then that is of course absolutely fine. The only thing I would say is that when you've made a final decision, do let the providers know. So whichever college you want to attend, then obviously you'll attend the appointments there. But if you have applied to others and accepted places, do let them know that you're no longer going to be enrolling in there. Otherwise they'll be chasing you and wondering where you are.
Okay. We touched on this a bit earlier, but what's the difference between A-level law and BTEC law? Heads of Studies?
So in terms of the difference, so again, I think A-level law, again, slightly more academic focus. I'm not a law specialist, so I don't know the nature of the topics. But obviously, everything is gearing up to exams at the end of 2 years. That's the nature of A-level law. The applied, so the BTEC applied law, again, there'll be a more vocational element to that, probably looking a little bit more at, I suppose, law in practice, law in the real world. So again, that will have more of a coursework sort of portfolio element to it.
And I should also mention that perhaps the course information sheet on the college website is probably the place that you need to go and have a look at the specifics in terms of what a BTEC law would entail compared to an A-level law program. So there will be differences, but really the specifics are important. Have a look at the college website and the course information sheets.
Yes.
Okay. Can you retake A-levels after year 12 at WQE? Helen?
I'm guessing that maybe as a student that's done them elsewhere and is looking to restart perhaps, and in which case then yes, we would look at those applications. I mean, really we'd need to have an understanding as to why you wanted to retake, and there would need to be a good reason for that. So sometimes students have just made the wrong decision and picked the wrong courses and they want to restart, and generally that's fine. If a student has perhaps not tried as well as they should, you know, and comes with a reference that isn't great, then you know, we'd have a conversation, but you know, it's not quite as straightforward. So it would depend on the reason that you need to retake. Some students do it every year, and in some cases it's fine.
Okay. If you pick a BTEC course, do you need to pick 2 more courses, or can you just do that one? Helen?
If you just want to do that one, so for example, if you just wanted to study health and social care, then you could choose the extended diploma in health and social care, which is the equivalent of 3 A levels, and that that is a full program. If you wanted to do other courses alongside that, you can. And again, as we said earlier, that is one of the really good things about our curriculum, is that you can mix and match it. So there's different options for depending on what's right for you.
So we've got different levels of, you have, big and long, short, thin. We've got lots of different types of BTEC courses, as Helen has rightly said. If you're very clear about what your academic focus is likely to be, so if you want to, I don't know, go into the health and social care profession or midwifery, for example, you might want to do a 2A level equivalent BTEC, so the diploma alongside perhaps an A-level in science, or you could go for the extended diploma, which is 3 A-level equivalent, or in fact you could go for the extended certificate, which is 1 A-level equivalent, and then some A-levels alongside that, or perhaps another BTEC. So there's lots of permutations and lots of opportunities, and I think Helen touched upon this a few minutes ago, and that's one of the unique selling points really from WQE's point of view, that we've got such a wide range of courses. You have the ability to mix and match depending on your career aspirations. So have a look at those course information sheets and discuss that when you have your interview with your interviewer.
Okay. What additional support is offered to students with learning difficulties? Probably heads of studies again.
Yes, so we cater for a range of students with multiple needs. We've got a dedicated welfare and skills team that support a wide range of students, from students who are looked after, students who have just left the care system, for example, students who have got an EHCP plan, students who have got a specific learning difficulties. So we have lots of students with a wide range of needs, and we've got a dedicated team of people depending on the specific need that you've got that have the expertise to be able to help you. So we've got someone who's a dyslexia specialist will support you if you've got dyslexia, and so on. It's beyond the scope of this this Zoom conference for me to go into the specifics of every single need. Suffice to say, if you have a look at the college website under welfare and skills, you'll be able to have a look at the summary of the support that's available to you.
Okay. Will your boosted grades in April give you the chance to do A-levels in case you may not meet the entry requirements? Helen?
I'm not really sure what boosted grades is. Heads of
It might
studies,
be like mock grades,
so,
or...
I mean, ultimately, we will look at the grades that you arrive with when the grades that you're awarded with in the summer. So whilst at the moment we're looking at predicted grades on your application form, the key factor that will determine whether you get a place on the course come enrolment will be the grades that you arrive with. So I guess if your grades go up in April as a result of something, then you can perhaps be a little bit more confident that you will get a place on the courses that you want. But I think that's probably all I can say on that at the moment.
Yeah, I think just to support that, I think it's obviously there's predicted grades, and then ultimately there will be your actual grades. I'm just like Helen. I'm not sure what boosted grades actually means really. So, as a college, just like anywhere else in the summer, they will be looking at actual grades, won't they? So.
Okay. Is everyone automatically assigned a PPM, heads of studies?
Yes, is the answer. Almost everyone will have a PPM. We think it's a very big part of the support that's available to you as a student of the college. The PPM essentially is similar to that of a personal tutor that you'll all have, and this person is arguably going to be the most important person in your life whilst you're at the college. So their job will be to conduct one-to-one interviews with you, support you with your academic progress, celebrate your success, but also pick up the pieces when things don't go to plan. So in a nutshell, yes, you will have access to a PPM when you join the college.
Okay. How will the college help me in getting a future career in accounting or business? Again, quite specific, but head studies?
Excuse me. I think it it's in a similar way to sort of previous answers in relation to things like apprenticeships or pharmaceutical studies. I think that the college is going to support that progression, because you'll pick those relevant subjects: business, economics, maths, potentially. Obviously, we offer accounting as well. So those related courses are enabling you to develop the skills to then apply for those careers, or those higher education courses that will then lead to those careers. And again, from the first year, we will introduce all sorts of aspects within both the PPM program, but through career support, that will enable you to make those decisions and apply for the kind of relevant courses that will take you to those careers. So yes, there will be lots of support for something that specific.
Okay. Will we only have one teacher per subject? Again, probably heads of studies.
No, I mean, depending on the course that you're likely to do, there's a very good chance that you're going to have more than one teacher. There are some courses where you would only have one, and there are many others where you would have multiple teachers. So, for example, if you did an extended diploma in health and social care, for example, it is highly unlikely that you're going to have one teacher. You're likely to have multiple teachers. Benefiting of the expertise of the individual teachers as well.
Okay. Can you study economics and business together?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's a quick one. Yes, you can. Yeah. The combination of economics, business, and accounting, to study all three wouldn't be recommended, but to study two of them is absolutely fine.
Okay, probably another quick answer to this. Can students go out of college at lunchtime?
Yes. Yes, you can. I mean, a lot of students stay. We've got really good dining facilities. We've got Starbucks, so lots of students will stay on site either to use the social catering facilities or to use the study space as well. If you want to go off campus, though, you're absolutely welcome to. There's the sort of local area of Queen's Road. There's some nice places there to get food, or depending on how long you've got free, you may wish to go to town and come back. But the overwhelming majority of students would choose to stay.
Okay. Can we change the subject we are taking if we don't enjoy it after a week or so of taking it? Heads of studies?
Yeah, the answer is yes. There's going to be a small window of opportunity during the first half term of the college where you will be permitted to change a subject. You've got to have pretty good and compelling reasons for that change taking place, and there's a formal process that we have to go through. But after that window of opportunity has closed, then there will no longer be any other window for you to change that subject. So actually, that's a really good question. It is imperative, it's so important that you do your research now. You talk to friends and family, you talk to your careers team at school, and make sure that you participate in all the support that's available in the college, pre-enrollment, post-enrollment, making sure that you are on the right course. This window of opportunity is probably about a week, and after that, a change won't be possible unless there are extenuating circumstances. But we are talking about very limited opportunities then. So please, this is the most important question that you've asked. Make sure you do your research. We want to make sure that we've got the right students on the right courses, and a big part of that is your own research in terms of the subjects, your career aspirations, the method of assessment, for example, because not every method of assessment is suited to your perhaps learning style, and all these things you do need to be very, very mindful of. So please do your research.
Okay, just noticing we're about on the hour now, so I think perhaps if we just take a couple more questions, and then we'll need to call it to a close today, I think.
Yep. How will we be told if we've got into the college? Helen?
Okay, yes, so I can take that. Yes, so you will get you'll get an offer via PS16, and that's how you will either accept or decline but we'll also write to you as well. So there'll be two methods, PS16 and a letter to your home address would give you the outcome of your application.
Okay. When do we apply for enrichment courses? Probably Helen again.
Yeah, so that's something that you would do as part of enrolment. So when we send out information to you in the summer to the students that have accepted an offer of a place, one of the things we'll be doing is encouraging you to research the enrichment choices. That information will all be available on our website, and you will make your choices. You usually make a preference of 3, and then you will hopefully get your first choice, but some backup options as well. But you would do that as part of enrolment. Okay, they were quite quick. Should we do a couple more?
Yeah. Do you offer Duke of Edinburgh qualifications? Don't know who's best to answer that, really.
Yeah, we do. That's not something the college does offer. It would be an enrichment course, but it's not something that we offer at the present time. No.
Okay. I'm just trying to find some that aren't overly specific. If you're going to be on a level 2 course, do you stay longer at WQE?
Yes, so if you're going to be enrolled on a level 2 course, you're likely to be here for 3 years should you want to then progress onto a level 3 course. So in total, it'll be 3 years. So yeah, 1 year for the level 2 and then 2 years for the level 3 program.
Okay. Brilliant. Right, so I think we're just on time now. So just I can see there are still some questions that haven't been answered. Some of those may be duplicated from things we've already covered. So we will in time go through those, and if there is anything that still remains outstanding, then we will get back to you, as I said. But just bear with us, because that probably won't be for a couple of weeks, given the sort of pressure we'll be under to deal with applications in a timely manner. So just to say then, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Thank you for all your brilliant questions. It's been a real pleasure answering those, and we look forward to meeting you when we're able to. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.